Welcome everyone to our session on Flutter. We hope you're as excited as we are, and by the end of this session, not only will you upskill yourself, but also develop a deep appreciation for the Flutter framework. The session would be conducted by Ashank Bharati, who has been leading Nuclei's R&D team and is an active member of the open source community. Nuclei, if you didn't know it already, aims to help digital banking platforms compete with the world of consumer tech firms and transform their digital banking experience. Over to you, Ashank.
Yeah, thanks, Chirayo, and thank you, ACM-VIT, for the invite. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, so as Chirayo mentioned, um, my name is Ashank, and I am working at Nuclei in the R&D team for last 3 years, and it has been a great experience working at Nuclei. So today I'm here to talk upon uh, the very topic that you can see on the screen, solving SaaS business problems with Flutter. And these are my social media handles. You can connect with me on GitHub, Gmail, LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere. If you have any questions in the middle, you can just comment it on the chat box. And as and when I see the chat, I'll be answering them. Also, if I leave any questions by mistake, I'll answer them at the end of the talk. And if still there are some more questions, you can connect with me on the handles. Okay. So before starting, I hope everyone is safe at their homes, staying healthy. And yeah, so I don't want to make this talk a very boring. Okay. Let's make it interactive. So I'll keep asking questions in the middle so that I also know that how much you are understanding whatever I am trying to deliver. Right. So yeah. So before we start off, just give you a brief introduction about Nuclei. So Nuclei is a fintech company which was started in late 2018, and currently we have around 18 plus clients. So clients, as in we are mostly working with banks as clients. We have a good presence in Asia with around 16 Indian banks and 2 Middle East banks. Um, we do around 3 million transactions per month. Also, we have integrated with around 40 plus partners across the globe. These partners help us in providing services or APIs or connect us with different merchants like Redbus or Mastercard or um, Cleartrip or many like that. Right. So these are our clients. In India, mostly all the PSU banks are working with us. SBI, in ICICI Bank, DBS. DBS is a bank of Singapore, Southeast Asia. RAK Bank and ADCB, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank. These are the two banks in Middle East with whom we are currently on the process of going live. Okay, rest of the banks we have already gone live with. Okay, so yeah, now the interesting part. I'll just walk you through the overview. So first of all, what is SaaS? As most of you are, I'm assuming that freshers are also there. Some first year people, and then all sorts of people are here who may not understand some terms. Okay, so if you are not understanding any term, just stop me in the middle, or just comment it on the chat. I'll just explain you. Anyways, I have tried to make it as simple as possible so that you get the full gist of it. Okay, so the first thing is SaaS. I'll be talking about what is SaaS actually, and then what is Nuclei SaaS that we are trying to um, uh, build on. Okay, also what are the problems with SaaS businesses, and then the interesting part, obviously, how Flutter came to rescue and is helping us boost our business. And also there are multiple platform challenges that we came across while we were using Flutter for solving these problems. So these will be something that you can take some learning of. Also will I'll tell you what are the open source contributions that we have been doing, especially in the field of Flutter, quite consistently right from the 2019. Okay, and last but not least, there will be a bonus introduction on Nuclei's in-house native framework called Phasm. So this is something, a framework basically which solves the Flutter web problem. So this is something that has not been yet in the market. It has not been yet in the Flutter community. We are the first one to find a solution to this, and we'll be soon making it open source so that the whole Flutter community can use it. Okay, so before giving you more insights on Phasm, I'll just walk you through what is Flutter. Then you'll be able to understand well how is it helping us. Okay, so starting off, yeah, SaaS. Okay, can I have some comment? I mean, some answers on chat if you know what actually SaaS means. I think there is some lag in the chat, so if you are typing, I might see it with a lag. But yeah, I'm expecting answers on SaaS. If anything that you understand by SaaS, it may not be a right answer or a wrong answer. It can be anything, whatever you understand. Okay, great. Software as a service, yes. Yeah, so okay, I think most of you know that it's software as a service. So before that, just some motivation on why SaaS or what is SaaS. Okay, so there is a quote, famous quote, like software is eating the world in all sectors. In the future, every company will become a software company. Okay, so this quote is a very uh, huge motivation on the SaaS framework that each company today is trying to adopt, because the kind of market we have in SaaS, or the kind of thing that we do in SaaS, is just beyond imagination. Okay, so SaaS is nothing but a software as a service. So let's say you have an app. Okay, it can be a mobile app, it can be a web app, it can be a desktop app. Okay, whatever app you are using, for let's say phone pay or any bank app you're using, for example SBI Bhim Pay app or Paytm app, right? So these are applications, but in those applications you will see there are some small modules. Okay, like you can do a recharge, or you can do a flight booking, you can do a hotel booking. There are some small mini modules that are plugged into those apps. So so it's not like the Paytm people or the phone pay people will build all the code by them, or write each module on their own, because if they are going to do it, it's not that scalable. So there are some companies which we call B2B companies, or the business to business companies, a business that works for another business, basically. So there are some players in the market who will build these small modules and give it to the app clients, or the app guys, basically. Now let's say a company X has created a recharge module, a flight module, or a hotel module. It will directly inject it in the phone pay app with much customizations, much scalability, and as a service, basically. So an independent entity is managing that whole service, and it can be directly injected into any app of that sort. Okay, so that in short is software as a service. Okay, so now going straight into Nuclei SaaS setup. Yeah, so as you can see, this is a bank app. Okay, this is a bank app, and you can see there are bank based modules like send money, request money, scan and pay, okay, or view balance. So these are some bank specific modules, okay. But these services that you see, recharge, bill payments, hotels, or all those things, credit card, cabs, flights, these are the things which are built by us basically. So we have created small SDKs or highly customizable SDK. So what is an SDK? SDK is nothing but a library. So let's say you do competitive coding or any coding, you do it in C or C++. In C, I think everyone has read C. You do include stdio.h, right? Or you do in Java, if you write, you are importing certain like java.util.star, some import statements you are writing. So they are nothing but they are libraries. Okay, so a library is nothing but a small piece of reusable code that goes and sits into your application, and you can reuse it whenever you want. They are available in form of jar files. They are available in form of uh, binaries. They can be available in any format on the internet, okay, and you can directly use them. So similarly, what we do is we build our products in form of libraries. We build our product in form of reusable code which can directly sit on any bank app or any telecom app or any client app of that sort. So we have created a strong integration framework which provides a very seamless experience between the native app and the SDK. So you won't feel as if this SDK or the library is not actually the part of this app. Okay, so that's why we are known, or that's why Nuclei is known. So when we integrate our SDKs on a bank app, it's way seamless. It you will not even get a feel that this particular thing is not part of this app. Okay, it gives a feel that it's just made by the bank app people, right? It's highly customizable, whether it's in form of colors, whether it's in form of theme, whether you want to enable wallet, coupon, or you want to do payment by the bank app people. So let's say I am doing recharge on Nuclei. So let's say I click on recharge. Now it opens a user journey on Nuclei SDK basically. So Nuclei will handle all the recharge and everything. Now when the payment comes, the redirection goes to the bank app. Now the bank app will do the payment on their own. Okay, so and then they will give the callback wherein we show our ability. So there are various products that we have developed like credit card subscriptions product, junior banking, flights, recharge, and number of products that we have developed, and we are able to inject it in the bank app in the form of Android, iOS, or web as a matter of fact. So we are also supporting multi-platform setup, like whatever is the device, we are easily able to sit on it. Okay, so now coming to the problems with the SaaS businesses. Okay, so what are the problems? Basically, there are many, there are many problems while you build a business, but there are few core problems that we talk about whenever it comes to SaaS businesses. One is customizations. So let's say I'm giving my developed mini app or a library to any other app to go and plug and play there. So it is highly required that my mini app or the library is highly customizable. So let's say uh, federal bank, let's say there is ICICI bank theme is red. Now let's say if I have developed my library in theme blue and it goes and sits in ICICI bank, it gives a very bad impression or bad UX, right? So our libraries are highly customizable. You just write a plugin, just there are some switch on switch off statements on our mini app integration part. Just the bank just needs to switch on few things, switch off few things, and they are good to go for their theme. So these are some problems which we face. So the challenge is how highly customizable you make it. Then second is app release time. So as and when you, let's say you did some modification in your library, let's say you did some modification in the recharge library, and you want to show that feature in the bank app, but that feature will not develop, I mean, not be visible in the bank app as soon as you deploy it or deliver it, because it depends on the bank guys when they are releasing their apps on the Play Store. Okay. And when it comes to clients like banks, it's very painful for them to go to various release cycles. So they don't generally go for, frequent releases. They will go like in 1 year, one release they will do. Okay. It's so they are so conscious of it because there are a lot of security stuffs and everything going on, and they don't want to disturb the current releases with their new releases. Okay. Also, they don't want to disturb the users and ask every now and then to do a reinstall. Okay. So it's very hard for SaaS business people to generate revenue on the new features that they are building, because it depends on the client apps whether they are going to make a app release or not. Okay. And then SDK size, obviously. So let's say your library is of very huge size, right? You have written the code in such a way that it's very huge size, so it increases the app size on a whole. So let's say phone pay, if you see, phone pay has a lot of SDKs or a uh, lot of things, right? You can do a recharge, you can do a flight booking, you can do a Zomato, you can do Ola. There are a lot of things, right? But if every library is heavy in size, you can imagine the app size will increase exponentially. So it's very important that the size factor is very important. Ease of integration, how easy it is for the client apps to go and integrate with your SaaS, I mean, what SaaS business or the libraries that you have built, right? Multi-platform and device support, right? So let's say I have built my business. Let's say you are going to open a startup tomorrow. Okay. And you want to scale. Okay. You have built a business, you have built some module, and you want to scale on it. What is the best way you scale on it? So you can either release an app so that a set of users use it, or you have created some library which you can integrate with multiple apps with on multiple geographies. Okay. And then you just go and sit in there are diverse set of users across all apps using it. So if and they have diverse set of devices, they have diverse, like they have iOS device, they have Android device, they have web apps, right? Some people prefer using websites, right? So in order to scale as a SaaS business, it's very important that you have a support on all the platforms or all the devices, right? It's a very good problem that we have solved at Nuclei using Flutter. I'll come to that. Okay. Then frequent app upgrades, as I spoke about it earlier as well. So it is in relation to this app release time only. Okay. So we cannot do more frequent app upgrades if our SaaS business or the SaaS libraries are binded to the native like releases, like the way you release apps on the Play Store. If you go and release like that, then it is never going to scale. You cannot do frequent app upgrades because it depends on clients. Okay. So how did we solve this? Obviously, Flutter. And so Flutter, what is Flutter first of all? So Flutter is basically a platform framework wherein writing a single code base. Okay. You can run it on Android, iOS, web, desktop, or embedded devices. Okay. So that's what Flutter is, a one-stop solution for giving you multi-platform support on all sorts of devices. Okay. There are other cross-platform solutions as well, but why Flutter? I'll come to that again. So before that, I'll just show you how Flutter has helped us. So Flutter has a native like performance. So what I mean by native like performance is like when you open any Android app, the Android app itself is a native app because it's built by native libraries. Okay, the it's built on the Android OS system directly, right? And when it comes to Flutter, Flutter is a kind of different framework altogether, wherein you write code in a different language called Dart. Now that Dart will compile into Android compatible binaries or native compatible libraries, and or iOS compatible libraries, or JavaScript as well, that can convert into JavaScript for running it on web as well, right? But no matter whatever device you run, it has a native like performance, and you won't feel whether you're using a cross platform solution or uh, direct a native app. Then it has a very high speed delivery because it's a single code base, so you don't need to write the code again and again for all the devices. So you don't need more resources, as in more human resources as well. Like you don't need uh, let's say you are building an SDK or a library, then you don't need to people for writing same code, right? If you are building iOS separately, Android separately, and web separately, then you will need three different people to write the code on three different platforms. But if you are using Flutter, just you write the code just once. So there is a very high speed of delivery, and also very huge cost cutting on resource management. Okay, then exponentially less development time, obviously, because that is a very simple language and it's very intuitive to learn, and you can scale very easily on this language. Also, multi device support. Then a strong widget library, this helps us in customizations, like let's say any sort of design or animation is required of the bank apps. Okay, this is well handled by Flutter widget library. Okay, and then comes add to app feature. So this is a very important feature, wherein let's say any SaaS business or any business, let's say they have been building Android apps or iOS apps. Okay, so they are native, they are already on native platforms. So let's say tomorrow they want to switch to Flutter. So what do they do? Are they going to build a new app altogether? Can't they reuse the old code, is the very good question, right? But Flutter easily solves it because Flutter has a add to app feature, wherein in already existing Android or iOS code you can add a Flutter snippet of code directly, like simple plug and play. It's so flexible. And last but not the least, it's a future proof thing, because Flutter has grown in last 3 years like anything. The developer community is growing very fast, and there have been lot of improvements in Flutter in last 3 years. Also, Google has come up with an OS called Fuchsia, which it says that it will enable that OS in multiple devices in future. Okay, so in 5 year or 10 year down the line, where in the era of IoT devices as well, or embedded devices as well, those devices will run this OS called Fuchsia. And Fuchsia is highly compatible with Flutter and Dart. So let's say today Nuclei is building any SaaS business, okay, for any mobile app or a web app. But tomorrow, if they want to run it on an IoT device as well, on an embedded device as well, it can easily go and inject there. Okay, so it can easily go and inject on the IoT devices as well. So that's how strongly visioned this technology is. Okay, so into last 3 years back, when we took this decision of switching to Flutter, it was very hard for us because Flutter was still in beta stage. But um, we took that risk of adopting Flutter because we have a very smart group of people working at Nuclei who are ready to take challenges. And they like there were a lot of things that were not available in Flutter. Even now there are a lot of things that are not yet available to go ready to production, but obviously it will come in future. But in order to with the perspective of a SaaS business, or scaling it with a future vision like 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line. That decision was a very critical decision for us, and now we are seeing the fruits of it in 3 years of time. Okay, so and also one more thing that I have mentioned about Flutter Web support. So this Flutter Web support is a support for web. Basically, you can write the code and run it on web as well. Use the same code as a web SDK and inject it in your Android app or iOS app, also known as PWA or progressive web apps, wherein a web app can be injected into an app. Okay, so that if you change something on the server, like for websites, you don't need to make App Store releases or Play Store releases, right? So if you make some change in your website, in the backend, it is directly visible on the mobile. So you don't need to make Play Store releases or App Store releases for that. So you are not dependent on your client releases. So as I mentioned before, problems. This is a very critical problem that Flutter Web is solving for us. But but Flutter Web currently is not the way it is in production, currently present in open source Flutter Web. The situation of it is not such that it can be used it in mobile, in the form of mobile SDKs. You can use it as websites, you can build web apps, but if you want to run a web SDK inside a mobile and ship it as a SaaS product to any bank or any client, it's not that reliable. Okay, so that's where we have come up with Phasm. Okay, and which is helping us solve Flutter Web problems on a huge, by a huge factor. Okay, I'll come to that at the end, but yeah, so that's about how Flutter has helped us rescue our SaaS businesses. So if you have any questions, so I think there is some lag in the chat, so I'm not able to see your questions right when I'm explaining it. So it's better you keep posting your questions. Okay, I'll answer them one by one at the end. So I'll just move on. Okay, so now the question can be, so some people might be knowing there are other cross-platform solution as well. So why do I go for Flutter? Okay, so there are n number of advantages that I already told you in the previous slide. But apart from that, we have done some research wherein we have found that uh, on application performance basis or UI basis, or a developer community point of view, or a go to market time speed, basically. Okay, so by go to market time, I mean by releases, wherein the user can see Flutter in your app. Okay, that is go to market, right? So in all of these aspects, Flutter is better than other cross platform solutions. Okay, so if you want to understand more how, or in depth how it is better, you can do more research on it, or you can directly connect with me if you want. I'll be happy to answer all your questions, because if I continue this why Flutter, it's again a very huge thing in itself to explain for this session, right? Yeah, so you think it's that easy, huh? Like we used Flutter and we solved all our problems. Was it very so easy? um, well, not exactly, but yes, in some terms, because as I told, we have a group of resilient people who are working on this framework and making it best for the community, and like owning it completely and making it best for Nuclei and the community as well. Okay, so there are some major multi-platform challenges. The native platform like Android, iOS, may we face some challenges, and in web also we face some challenges that I'll touch upon. All, anyways, I cannot discuss all the problems here, but I'll just give you a gist of some challenges that we have faced and we conquered. Okay, so the first challenge that we faced was, as I told, so earlier our system was as set up in such a way that we have a native code base. Okay, we have separate code base for Android, separate code base for iOS. So we have separate set of resources for both, separate set of developers for both, separate set of testing releases for both. So there was 2x resources that went into it. So when we moved to Flutter, we didn't move directly or right at one shot. Okay, we started building small modules or small SDKs in Flutter, and we started reusing our native code base. So by that add to app feature, what we can do is, let's say there is let's say for an example, you are using uh, phone pay app. Okay, in phone pay app, um let's say you open recharge. So now when you open recharge, you will see some recharge plans like Airtel. You can do 300 rupees recharge and you'll get these plans, and in or you'll do 150 rupees recharge and you'll get these plans. Those things you'll see, right, when you do recharge. I hope everyone has done a recharge on phone pay app or any app, as a matter of fact. Okay, now let's say whoever has built recharge on phone pay, let's say there is some third party uh, player who has developed, a third party company who has developed recharge for phone pay. Now they want, what they want to do is they want to build some screens in Flutter and they want to attach it to the recharge screen. So what they can do is they can develop the second step screen in recharge. Let's say they want to develop the checkout screen or wallet screen in Flutter, and they can attach it to the recharge flow itself, and it's very seamless. But there is a one problem between the navigation of native and Flutter screens, because the native Android runs on a, so the screens, when you see, just to give you a gist, when you run any app, when you open any screen, there is stack that sits in below, which handles all your screens. Okay, so stack is nothing but a data structure that you will read. If you're a fresher, you might have not read, but if you are in second year, third year, fourth year, you might understand what a stack is, right? So all the screens, so let's say a recharge screen opens, it goes and sits there on the top of the stack, and then comes the order detail screen, and then comes the transaction screen. So this is a stack that is maintained. But when you add a third party framework or a Flutter set of screens there, it is very hard to maintain the navigation flow, because Flutter has a different stack, native has a different stack. So this thing is not provided by Flutter as it is. So if you want to leverage your SaaS business with Flutter, you have to do something, right? So what we did, we built our own custom navigation stack. Okay, so how we built it, there is some deep logic to it, some analysis and some technology to it that we have used. Obviously some good knowledge of data structures that you are learning now or doing it in competitive coding will be used here when you build it, right? So if you want to know how we have built this and how we are managing the stack of both Flutter and native, so that both Flutter and native work together, you can again connect with us at Nuclei and we'll be happy to share how we have done it. Okay, then comes Flutter with GRPC. So before GRPC, before this, what is GRPC basically? So GRPC is nothing but uh, 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 basically a protocol which which helps you in transmission of data from one, um, let's say in high level terms, let's say two device in the internet are communicating with each other. Let's say a mobile is communicating with a server, right? When you book any bus or do any recharge, there is a server call that is happening. Okay, there is some server, some computer sitting in on the remote area, and you are doing some transaction. So this transmission of data happens with some help of some protocols. So it can be REST or it can be GRPC. So GRPC, we are using GRPC at Nuclei, okay, because it's faster than REST and it is also secure. enough because it's on HTTP 2 protocol. So there are some terms that you might not understand now. What is HTTP 2? What is GRPC? You feel free to go research about it because you will learn a lot of things. If you no, I see a question that GRPC is very similar to WebSocket. Not similar to WebSocket, I'll say. GRPC works on protocol buffers. So it is a kind of RPC call that happens in your OS, or inter-process communication. So when you do a call from one process to another, it happens as if the two processes are part of the same system. So when the client connects to the server, there's a channel open between client and server, and they are streaming data in a way that this client and the server are part of the same system. Okay, so it's very seamless and fast. Okay, so you can read more. Good question, Ramesh. Yeah. So yeah, so problem with GRPC was that was that compatible with GRPC at the time when we started using it. Now obviously they're doing enhancements there. And also in GRPC Web is a different protocol that helps running APIs on Flutter Web or services on Flutter Web. Okay, so there also we have done a good amount of contributions. We have written our GRPC frameworks, own GRPC frameworks, and contributed to open source. Also, there is a very nice blog written by us on Nuclei technology blog. You can go at Medium and access it. uh, you can go on Google, search for Nuclear Technology blog, and you will find a set of articles there that so whatever we are doing there, we are just writing it off there so that it's available for public to read. Okay, you can just go there, and if you want, you can read about it. Finally, the most important challenge was Flutter Web Challenges, and this is something that is the toughest thing that the whole Flutter community is trying to solve, but there is not yet a good solution to it. Obviously, in 2 years, 1 year, 2 year down the line, they will come up with a solution, but we didn't wait for them. Okay, and so before that, I'll just show you how people are pissed off with Flutter Web currently because it's not working as they want for them. They are not able to use it as web SDKs. Okay, so yeah, so how we solved it, and now we developed Phasm. So Phasm is Flutter Web Assembly, which solves all Flutter Web problems when you use when you have created some web app in Flutter and you want to deploy it in your application or inject it in your native application, okay, directly. And you want to enjoy all the benefits that you enjoy in web app, like smart release, on the fly releases, or mostly on the fly releases, and also the in the matter of size. So let's say you have developed a library wherein you are injecting a web SDK that is of much lesser size than a native SDK, because all the data is loaded in runtime. All the static files are fetched from web and loaded. So when you go to YouTube or a Facebook website, then there you can see. So you might have been using YouTube for a long time, but you might have noticed that the UI of YouTube has changed drastically from the time you have been using. In 10 years time, it has changed many times, but you never went to some Play Store or App Store to download those releases, right? You never did that. You just reload the YouTube website, and it you see everything loads, and you sometimes you are surprised also, like, wow, UI change ho gaya hai, and it's really nice, right? So the same way we are trying to inject web SDKs in the client mobile apps, and we we do smart releases on the fly, and so that we can enjoy the benefits, and we can conquer those two problems: app releases, the time of app releases, and also the size of SDK that increases as and when you add more and more SDK or more and more library to a client app, right? So how Phasm is helping. So currently, if I tell you, Flutter Web takes a lot of loading time because it's a very huge JS file that generates out of the Dart code that you have written. So we have created a native framework which has very good caching capabilities. So once first time, also we have reduced the first time load almost by 5x times. So earlier it took around 15 minutes for us, 15 seconds, sorry, 15 seconds for us to load the any Flutter web screen on mobile. But now it takes around 3 seconds or 2 seconds just with the help of Phasm. Okay, so this is something which has helped us the most, and it also has it's it has also a lot of scaling and new features capability. Okay, so we are planning to make it open source soon. So those of you who are interested in Flutter or already working in Flutter can contribute to this library in order to make it good and much better, so that other people can also use it in order to solve Flutter web problems. Okay, more on, if you want to know more on how we solve, like what exactly is Phasm or how is it working internally, we'll be sharing blogs soon on this on Nuclei Technology blog, so you can just subscribe to Nuclei Technology blog and stay updated. Obviously, I'm damn sure that you will have a huge set of learning when you go read those things, because we are especially developing libraries here and right from scratch. And when you develop a library from a scratch, the uh, amount of learning that you get uh, in terms of software engineering is the best, is what I have felt in my 3 years experience. And yeah, I would strongly recommend you guys as well to start exploring these things. Okay, so other open source contributions to Flutter community. So we have been doing a lot of open source contribution. We have created our own card scanner. Many other companies are using this. uh, we have created our touchable. We have created smart forms. These are some forms that people can use it in their app as widgets. Some form validation and all will happen, and it's easy to validate forms basically. Also keyboard detection plugin and other more packages that we have developed. We have done around 25 plus contributions, major contributions to Flutter. And day to day, we keep on raising issues, improve their documentations, and yeah, that's what we are doing that consistently. And yeah, we are, as I told, blogs, writing blogs, also a part of open source space. Yeah, so some interesting numbers to conclude. So we have with Flutter, we have increased 2x in our productivity, 5x reduction in Flutter Web SDK load time with Phasm. Okay, and 90% of our clients are live with Nuclei products in Flutter. So many people still are scared of using Flutter in production, but our clients are using 90% of our clients are using it, and we have excelled right from the day we started developing things in Flutter. Almost we have excelled almost 4x times in just 3 years, just because of this technology. And also 25 plus open source contributions, as I told before. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. These are some open source contributions that I talked about. If you want, you can just go and check out these. If you want, I'll share this separately with you. Yeah, so now coming to the questions. if you have questions, you can keep posting it because I'm done. And um, I would love to answer your questions. If you don't have any questions regarding this PPT or any other questions, if you have anything that you want regarding a SaaS business, regarding your studies, regarding anything, you can just start asking questions. Just shoot questions. I'm just, yeah, I have 15 minutes time and I can answer them all. Okay, so I'll just check out the chat if you have questions here. Okay. Okay. So I asked SaaS, what is SaaS? Some interesting answers here. Some people say software as a service. Yes, nice. On demand service software. Yes, kind of. And yeah, some one person says honestly, the first time I heard it, it was like a dog's name. Yeah. Nice. Uh, I hope now it doesn't sound like a dog name. Mm, I don't know who is using this username, Bright Things. Will there be questions related to this in the competition? If yes, will the recording be available? That I guess the ACM-VIT team people will be the best to answer. Software as a service. Mm, yeah. Okay. Okay. I asked some people from ACM. All they say is stay tuned. Some questions. Okay. So I think I can ask some bonus questions, and maybe ACM-VIT people can uh, plan some goodies on the same, right? Okay. So on the on the presentation just that I just gave, uh, can someone just tell me what is the full form of phasm? I'll the first. Let's see how many people can answer it. Okay, till then I'll just look at other questions. Uh, why would they do that? Yeah, so I think some people also concerned about recruitments. I'm not sure what recruitments are you talking about. If you're concerned about like recruitments at Nuclei, so we'll be visiting VIT this year, okay, for hiring as well. So if you like our session, if you like our work, you can mm, join us at Nuclei as well, and we would love to work with you guys. Hey, folks. Also, we are hiring now as well. So strongly hiring. We are hiring for software engineering, software development engineer roles. Also, a uh, broad set of roles we are hiring. You just go to the Nuclei careers page and just look out for roles and just apply. The fourth year people, if you are applying for looking for jobs or looking for working in a uh, consistent, yeah, open source driven company like us, you can join us. Yes, Flutter Web Assembly. Yes, you're right. Flat assembler. No, no. Flutter Web Assembly. Okay. Uh, okay. I guess that's it. Anything else if you want to ask, you can ask. And thing is there, then maybe we can this drop. Okay, what are some of the Flutter libraries you use the most? Okay, so there are a lot of them. So there are basically, so before explaining the libraries, I'll just give you an insight on what are the levels we are using those libraries. So we have so there are few layers in any app which are present in all the apps or all the libraries or any SDK that you're building. Okay, so one is service layer, one is state management layer or the design pattern layer, or one is architecture layer, right? So we use GRPC libraries for our GRPC services. We use state management packages like provider, block, okay, and also we are using mm, libraries like forms, smart forms that I talked about, okay, for form handlings and yeah. So also there are some libraries for cryptography, encryption, decryption, okay, those things. Okay, yeah. So mm, I think we don't have more questions. Okay, Abhishek says loved your DroidCon presentation. Thanks, Abhishek. Okay, so
So you want to wrap up this?
yeah.
Cool.
That was a wonderful session, and I hope that you all enjoyed it as much as I did. If you haven't started with Flutter yet, I hope that this session would inspire you to explore it. And if you have any doubts, make sure to contact Ashank on his socials. If you still haven't registered for reverse coding, make sure to do so. It's a wonderful opportunity to showcase your coding and logical thinking skills and see where you stand amongst thousands of others. Our pre-hack event, Code Golf, is live. With prizes over 1,500, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to miss it. To give you a gist of the event, if you love to write efficient and short code, then this is just the event for you. Head on over to our socials to know more about the event and make sure to join our Discord server because the event would be conducted there itself.